explorers, and welcome to the science of stuff. I'm Captain Coconut.
I did something a bit insane. I created this animation by myself. It wasn't as bad as I thought, and it was kind of fun. Hello there, and thank you for stopping by. This is Drawn to Motion, and today we're talking about science, the science of stuff. Hold on to your hats. This is going to be a fun one. So the science of stuff began as a passion project. I wanted to create something for Caribbean children that was educational and entertaining. I created 3 characters and a story. So let's start with a story. Before anything really began, education was a big deal. So I kind of looked at the school curriculum and aligned it with some educational points from the school's syllabus. I chose a topic that I felt could, be fun to work on. After I had those objectives, I moved on to the script. So with the main idea of vertebrates and invertebrates in mind, I crafted some dialogue in terms of a script, and these are like the fundamental building blocks for any story. And I think even before you get into like creating, you should have this foundational part, like a plan or overall goal, right? After that was said and done, I jumped on to designing the characters. Now this is a kind of board I created, and these were the inspirations. Chowder was a really kind of fun, big inspiration for this, as well as Wes Anderson's Life Aquatic. I did some initial designs here, some work with some color. I did most of the work in Procreate, and then I brought it into Adobe Illustrator to really polish, and that gave me the characters here. This was supposed to be in the animated short. It's a submarine I did, and here we will just meet some of the characters I designed. This was Captain Coconut, the leader of the gang, Mot Mot, named after a famous Caribbean bird, his nephew, and his niece, Dinsey. She didn't really appear in this short per se because of limitations. I kept the cast short down. We have a script, we have a story. We move on to recording some audio voiceovers for it, and yeah, I did it. I am a big Matt Berry fan, and I want to do my best Matt Berry because I just love his humor and his overall cadence and the way he does his comedy. After the voiceovers were done, I kind of roughed out some character poses to create an animatic with, right? So this kind of guided the overall animation process and kind of told me what the rig needed to do to execute. So I kind of I just drew and the key action points here that that would kind of capture the dialogue, and it's very loose. I mean, these are not fine art or anything or polished by no means. I just wanted to get it out there and create something that could basically bridge a gap, and this is what that looks like.
I'm Captain Coconut, and this is my assistant and nephew, Mot Mot. Today, we're on a special adventure to discover 2 groups in the animal kingdom.
So I had all the main pieces to really build this story, and now creating the rig. So I designed in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and I exported that as an SVG and brought it into Moho. And from there, I broke up the layers and I created this rig. I created rigs for all the both characters. I don't want to use mouth shapes per se, so I kind of created smart bones for them to dial in these mouth shapes. I don't know if that was the best thing to do. Again, you know me, I like to make too much work for myself. So yeah, I did that, and I did a very simple rig. Well, not that simple. There was some like Vitruvian elements in this too as well, and some dynamic bones. The head could have turned, and some other cool stuff. So once I was satisfied with the overall flow for this, I went and rigged up the other little guy. But I should say that the rigs weren't like production ready right off the bat. It was a process. Like I created the rig, I tried making it work in the animation, and in the first couple of times it wasn't perfect, so I went back to the drawing board, fixed the rigs, and then jumped back into animating the sequences. And I'm just breaking down the folder structure here and showing you what that looks like, right? And some of the switch layers and the inner workings of the rig. I mean, this was like the main part of the animation process. So it was the puppets, what brought it to life. So we're continuing here. I'm opening up the scene. This is the little guy Mot Mot, and I'm just gonna go ahead and show you a bit about his rig. And there's some audio in this file, and same deal, like some eye control, some head controls inside it to give me the range of motion from that animatic in it. I know you didn't see the entire animatic, but I basically storyboarded the entire animation before I even begin to animate. I wanted to get those key poses and key points down, so I know I have a pretty good idea what I want the rig to do, or to be capable of doing. So when I get into animating the scenes now, I would be in a good place. And yeah, these rigs were serviceable. Looking back on it, there was a lot more I could do. I really love that walk cycle though. It's kind of goofy. Memories. So now this is a couple of scenes with Captain Coconut. Looking at messy there, but that's the bow dynamics, and this is what like a finished animated scene looks like.
I'm Captain Coconut, and this is my assistant and nephew, Mot Mot.
From here, I would just export the PNGs, and then I'll show you how that looks like when I bring it into After Effects to really comp it and build out the scenes. Oh, this was another character from the short. And I'm just showing you the rig. It's a very rudimentary rig. It's just like simple motion just to get stuff going. In this version, I didn't finish the eyes yet, but he was supposed to blink. It wasn't pretty. It definitely wasn't pretty, but sometimes you just want a little bit of movement to show like something, characters. It wasn't a very critical part of it. This is what the After Effects project looked like. This was a scene. So simple background character, some blur and some slight color correction here. So it was. We will look at it short at the end, and I'll kind of like give you my rundown of like the process and stuff, some commentary if you will. But again, this is pretty like straightforward. The process was script, animatic, like building everything out, planning properly. And then this is like kind of the final stage where I built out the comps in After Effects. I rendered them out as video and then brought them into Premiere to really edit and fine tune the end product. I mean, looking back in retrospect, there were things that I would have done differently now, but it was a like fantastic learning process and something that I just really wanted to do. It was definitely something on my mind for a long time, because growing up I really liked documentaries. We only had like three options in terms of television, but it was one of the shows that I really liked to watch was the Science of Things, and with David Suzuki, and it was cool. This is a post I did for the animated short. You will see it inside there. So when we check out the full animation, we'll get into it. But yeah, and this was like a important part too, like the branding. So I wanted to create a real fun logo for it. So I just create a type logo, keep it fun, keep it cool. Also the text a bit, but kind of chaotic. But this was like what I wanted to be a part of Coconut Kids. But that's a story for another time. And yeah, so we have the animated short here. That's the title for Coconut Kids. A lot of these footage was pulled straight from stock, and it was important to use these so you would see what real animals look like. This is the intro bit. So a big inspiration for this was Life Aquatic. I really love that Wes Anderson movie. From the those little hats and stuff, you could see like a bit of a homage what the characters were wearing for that. And this was the bit of a poster animated inside here. Looking back at this, the color correction wasn't like the best job possible, but at the end of the day, the episode is serviceable, in my opinion.
But what does this even mean? Let me explain. Vertebrates are animals that have a special
Yeah. So most of these stuff, like those things, were executed in After Effects. Only the character animation really in Moho. Yeah, all of this was done in After Effects. The type, animation, the arrows, everything. And come to think of it, it wasn't much. I say it would be 50-50 in terms of like After Effects animation, and this was a real cool one I did in After Effects too. I really like this.
Did you know that most animals in the world are invertebrates?
So yeah, that was a bit of my Matt Berry impression, but it was gonna cross between Matt Berry and David Attenborough. So that's our episode for this week. I really hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed telling you about this project, and if you found this content valuable, please consider liking, sharing, and following. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you start creating, and I want to see what you guys do. Thanks again. Bye.